Hey guys, T-Wolf here, and today we're going to take a look at the Tier 8 French destroyer, the Le Terrible. I promise I won't do any more accents after that. The Le Terrible, this is, like I said, Tier 8, French premium destroyer. It's coming out Thursday, we expect. So I thought we would take a look at some of the stats here, and then I've got a game to show you after this. We'll talk a little bit about it. So, first off, when I was looking through the stats, I got really excited because I'm looking at this thing going, this is stupid OP. This is going to be an awesome boat. And on paper, it definitely looks that way. So, just real quick, hit points, 18,998, just under 19,000, which, if I remember right, is second only to the Tashkent. I think everything else was actually lower than that at Tier 8. So, hit pool's nice. It's got a lot of hit points. Speed, this thing is the fastest boat I know on PC, and I'm almost positive it is here, too. I think the Shimi is pretty close, but stock, we're looking at 41.12 knots. I have all of the boats here that we're going to compare it to set up stock just so we get a fair comparison across, and obviously the numbers will change depending on how you outfit it. Because I was curious, I went ahead and thought I would try for you guys and answer the question that I knew you were all going to ask. How fast can we get this thing up to? With the Advanced Engine Elite bonus, with the equipment in slot 3 for speed, this one right here, the 5% there. With the supply, there was one of the supplies, if I can get my fingers to work here, refined diesel adds 3%, and then with the captain skill, the preheating, that adds 3% for the first 40 seconds. With the engine boost, and we'll take a look at the engine boost in a minute, it is a level 3 engine boost. I got it up to, I think it was 54.7 knots. Now, that's obviously just the first 40 seconds when preheating takes effect. First 40 seconds of the battle when preheating kicks in as well. But still, I got it up to 54 knots, which is crazy. The way I ended up playing it, because I didn't keep Advanced Engine on there, I ended up swapping it out for Elite Gun Operator. We'll take a look at that here in just a minute. I took that off, but I think that was the only thing I changed, and I was cruising at, I think it was like 48 knots, and with the speed boost is up like 51. So somewhere in there is where I was running. I've played a bunch of games and I can't remember the number specifically, but it was in that neighborhood. I know 51 knots is where we topped out with the speed boost without Advanced Engine on there. So that was still pretty crazy. Anything going that fast is just stupid. So the boat is very, very fast, and that is probably the best thing I'm going to say about it today. Given that size, it is a very big destroyer. It still turns all right. Looking at the guns, 139 millimeter, pretty big for a destroyer. You do get 5 of them, 2 on the bow, and then there's 3 in the stern right there. So you do get 5 guns. They've got a decent reload time. They have a 6-second reload time, which isn't too bad. And then the boat does get rapid reload. It gets a rapid reload 3, which cuts that reload time in half for 15 seconds, which is very nice. And that's probably the second nice thing I'm going to say about it, is that the reload time's not too bad. They hit okay. With AP, I was getting full rolls against destroyers pretty easy. I did run IFHE, and I was getting decent fire hits. 5% fire chance is pretty good. I was getting what felt like a fair number of fires. The turret traverse speed is atrocious. Considering this is meant to be a gunboat, I was easily out-turning my guns, which made it very difficult to shoot and move. And without a smoke screen, you can't really sit still either. So I did, when I was playing, I was running Elite Gun Operator, like I said, that adds to the turret traverse speed, and I was running the equipment in slot 1 that buffs your turret traverse by 20%. And even then, I was just a hair over 11.5 degrees a second, which is pretty bad. That's like cruiser bad. And it's one thing on a cruiser where you're not going to be dancing around as much, but on a boat like this where you're moving more, that turret traverse is just terrible. Torpedoes, you do get 3x3, which I was very excited about until I realized it was the Mahan layout of torpedoes. You can see here, there's two, one up here, one down here on either side, and then you get one center line in the back. So you do get a broadside of 6. You can wheel around, and sometimes having that other rack on the far side is nice. If you get somebody that doesn't know that that's the way your torpedoes are laid out, you can fire 2 racks and then maneuver, and they think you've blown your load, and you can surprise them with another 3 from the other side. It's a fun tactic, and you know it's not a common setup, so a lot of people, especially in the mid tiers, forget that there's boats like that, and it's not terrible. I definitely wish they were centerline mounted. It would have made them a lot more useful. They do reload pretty quick, 40 seconds. Stock reload time is pretty quick for the tier. And is a nice feature, but they don't hit very hard. 3,600 damage, I know felt good, and I guess it's not any worse than the Benson. Not really, anyways. Kagero, what are those? Yeah, see, compared to the Japanese, though, they don't hit nearly as hard. So the terrible 3,600 damage. I guess I wasn't being fair. That's not that bad, but just felt weak. They do get good range, 8 kilometers. They're pretty quick, 62 knots, 14% chance of flooding. The AA is absolutely terrible. 31. Just to give you a comparison to the Benson, the Kagero here. The AA is terrible. And the concealment is bad, but if I remember right, it wasn't that much worse than some of the others. I guess maybe it was. So, yeah, concealment's bad too. And when you combine that with no smoke, yeah. Camouflage, historical camouflage is pretty typical. Main battery firing range, torpedo range, traverse speed, surface detection, pretty typical. Nothing too fancy there. Oops. Like I said, engine accelerator 3. Maximum speed by 15% for 25 seconds. That was, helps you get up to those crazy high speeds. Rapid reload 3, cut your reload time in half for 15 seconds. That was very nice, especially if you can find yourself a destroyer a battleship to just rain HE on. Get some fires lit. It's not too bad. I keep jumping around here. Sorry, guys. And then for bonuses. So Meritorious Service is selected now just because I didn't want to skew the numbers when we were looking at them together there. Like I said, Advanced Engine is an option. I ran Elite Gun Operator. And the reason I did that was because I didn't really need to buff the speed on this thing anymore. It's already fast enough. But helping the reload time is never a bad thing, and that turret traverse was just horrible. Like I said, considering it's supposed to be a gunboat, the fact that you're out turning your guns when you're trying to maneuver and shoot means that you spend a lot of time either counter-turning your boat to get the guns pointed back the direction you need them to be, or just flat out not shooting because your guns aren't aimed where you need them to be aimed in order to lead the target properly. All in all, I don't know. I really struggled with it. I was averaging around 30,000 damage. Now, I should probably preface that by saying destroyers are not my strongest ship type. I know last week we talked about how bad I was in a carrier, and yeah, I'm pretty bad in a carrier. Cruisers and battleships are definitely my comfortable spot. That's where I feel I play the best. But I have been practicing with destroyers. I have been getting better. I have worked my way up to tier 8 in a couple of the lines, and I'm working a couple of the others, getting up there too. So I feel pretty comfortable in a destroyer. I'm by no means great, but I'm okay. And I struggled to do 30,000. Or I consistently did around 30,000, 29, 32, somewhere in there. The game I'm going to show you here in just a minute was one of my better ones, but ultimately I'm probably going to pass on this boat for my personal account. I just don't see myself playing it, especially with some of the other tier 8s that are available. On my personal account, I've got Benson, I've got the Akizuki, I've got the Z23, I've got the Luoyang. and I don't see myself playing this one, just because it's not that fun. It's got some unique things, and it's really fast, but it's just not for me. So, anyways, we're gonna jump into a game. It's just going to be one game just to kind of show you guys what the boat can do. Pay attention to the torp angles. The center line one tends to fire first, I think, because I've noticed when I was firing towards the front of the boat, it would fire, and then the angle didn't match for the next one. Maybe it was the other way around. Maybe the side one does fire first. But anyways, I noticed sometimes when I was firing torpedoes kind of towards the front, I'd fire a rack, and then I'd go to fire the second rack, and the cone didn't, angle didn't reach that far. So maybe the side one did fire first. But either way, it was kind of annoying. So there's that. And then the gun angles on the back aren't very good either. I found myself a lot of times only getting the two front guns into play and having to turn quite a ways broadside in order to get the back ones in the fight too. So that was a little disappointing. But anyways, we're going to show you a game, and you guys can kind of see what it does. And yeah, so want to say thanks again for your time here, guys. Appreciate you guys watching and subscribing. Let me know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you next time. Have a good day. See you out there.
Target spotted. Enemy aircraft incoming. Enemy aircraft incoming. We hit the enemy. Fast reload activated. Torpedoes! Target hit. Enemy torpedoes spotted! Our team is about to win! Our team is about to win!